Welcome back. I'm Roy with Rugged Badger Racing and Team Parts Badger. This is our ChampCar Miata, and it is time for another race. We have the car ready to go. We have lots of upgrades, which we'll get into. We got our trailer ready to load up. So let's head to Joliet, Illinois for our next race at Autobahn Country Club.
It's a little after 4 in the morning. Let's get going.
All right, we made it. We are here at Autobahn. Let's get unloaded. All right, we are all set up, cars out, we're loaded. Now, the goal this weekend is stay cool. We have an 86, an 87, and a 96-degree day. So we have a misting fan, we got a cool shirt. We have over 100 frozen water bottles. Now, we're gonna take it easy on this test day. Just get used to the track, make sure the car shakes down okay so that we can make it to the race, and hopefully everybody's nice and relaxed and we stay cool. Now, we have a lot of updates for the car. So, number one, we have a new engine. So, the old engine bit the dust. The reason was the ECU. So, we have a new ECU with a new tune. The old tune was running way too lean, and we cracked 3 of the pistons. So, we have the new motor installed, tested, ready to go. Now, we did change up the oil pan a little bit. We added a baffle, and I actually think it hurt. So we'll see. Hopefully we can keep this engine together for this race. Now we had interesting oil pressure issues, but what really blew the engine was running lean. I think oil pressure wise we were actually okay. We'll see. Another update, we moved to an internal slave cylinder. So we had a lot of issues as it related to the exhaust vibrating, and the slave cylinder was right there. So we moved to an internal slave cylinder, and we have a quick change fitting right here as well for that internal slave cylinder. So fingers crossed that that works well. Part of that, we got a new clutch. We did move to a ceramic clutch. It is a sprung ceramic clutch. Now, I was getting a lot of feedback when I mentioned I run organic discs. We're gonna give ceramic a try. A lot of people said, run the ceramic, it's a lot better. So we'll see. 2 other updates on the splitter itself. So number one, we added a different leading edge. We used to have a piece of PEX that we just cut, and then that went around. Now we've added this, which is actually sewer pipe. So I actually cut out a bit of sewer pipe to create this nice rounded edge into the splitter. My understanding that if we're running a higher car, that'll actually suck more air under the car and should increase front downforce. We also added splitter end plates. On a course like this, it's generally slower. I want as much downforce as possible, and we also added more wing angle. We'll try to get that aero bounce dialed in, but hopefully we have more downforce overall. 2 other updates related to fuel. So we weren't sure exactly what was causing the engine to run lean. So when we replaced the ECU, we also put brand new injectors in. They're OEM, genuine AC Delco, which are the GM OEM branded injectors. We also added, well, technically we added 2 more things for the fuel. One is our surge tank, which is right here. That's a great spot for it because this is the lightest corner of the car, and that's where all the fuel stuff is already. So we do have a ChampCar legal surge tank in there. We also added, which you can't see here because we have a dog bowl, a painted dog bowl, that bumped that out, but we actually have a new vent on top of the fuel tank. We're hoping that's going to add a little bit more capacity because there's actually an air pocket in the stock Miata tank, and could be worth $1/4 gallon, it could be worth $1 gallon, who knows. So hopefully that helps us get more capacity in the stock tank. And another update I forgot, actually we have a new antenna for our radio system. So the radio, we were having issues last time. It had to do with an antenna that was mounted back here, and the cable was actually broke. Part of the issue is that cable is also running alongside the aim camera system, and when that happens and you transmit radio, it was cutting out the aim. So we wanted to avoid that. So I added an antenna from the old Parts Badger car here. It's one of these flat antennas just taped, and we rerouted that cable pretty much independent of everything to the radio. So hopefully we don't have interference, but we're gonna test that out as well.
Hi, Brandon with Team Rugged Badger Racing. It's definitely going to be a hot weekend, so you know, one of my jobs is to make sure that these drivers stay cool, keeping that cool suit filled with ice, making sure they got enough hydration, water, Gatorade, Powerade. I hope you enjoyed the view, and stay tuned for this weekend's race. We have Saturday and Sunday.
first test session done, and my new splitter that I spent a couple hours on is no longer attached to the car. All right, so came in, we were having issues with the engine cutting out. We had fuel pressure issues, which was surprising because the gauge read anywhere between 0.8 to 1 gallon. So we took the fuel pump out of the tank. The tank is bone dry. The surge tank is bone dry, and the fuel pump decided to melt itself. See it got a little melty there. It's still pretty hot to the touch. So we got OEM fuel pump. Now I do have another Aeromotive, but I have a feeling that the Aeromotives, when they get dry, they start seizing, and I think that's part of the problem, because I never had this type of cutout behavior on a stock Miata before, and I know the tank got low. So hopefully this will fix our issue. We'll fill up with fuel, and then I guess we just got to keep an eye on it. All right, I had a good test session with Nick. Now we're at break, but found something interesting. Exhaust is hanging especially low. We have at least hanger 1 and then hanger 2 over there, completely disconnected. So the joys of a new platform. Hopefully we can get that corrected, get those. We got some metal zip ties to make sure they stay on the hangers. We'll check it, make sure that the exhaust is in good shape. Fingers crossed. Now I will say, we put fuel in it. We got the new fuel pump. That seems to be running fine, so no issues there. Fingers crossed on this exhaust. All right, so Nick was out there a little under an hour, and then he said that the car just went super lean on him. So we checked the aim logs. Fuel pressure's fine, and fuel pressure was taken right at the rail. So we touched the rail, and the rail was really, really hot. It is hot out here. I think the rail was getting heat soaked, because this is a returnless style. The fuel just heats up, it boils, and then it seems like potentially a reason why he's getting that type of issue, because I mean fuel pressure is stable. So if fuel pressure is stable and we're running lean, that's got to be it, unless it's something with the ECU. Now when he was in the pits, he came into the pits and then he said it kicked on again. So unfortunately I don't have AFRs in the aim, so I can't look at that. So what we did, we rerouted. I had an extra line here. We have a full new rail system. I had that purchased because I wasn't sure what the issue was before. So this is moving to a return style that goes to fuel pressure regulator. So what we're going to try to do, they're checking the back now to remove the regulator in the back and the filter and everything. So we're going to try to get this wired up. We'll set our fuel pressure here instead of what's currently set on the Wix. Is just default, is just set, and we'll see if this fixes our issue. Alright, so that's done. We have our return style fuel system implemented. We have it set to 65. Previously it was running at about 58, so we'll see where AFRs are. Nick's in the car now. Let's see if this thing works. So I think the fuel issue is solved. I'm not 100% sure because we didn't get a ton of time out on track, but at least initially it seems better. Our AFRs are better, but a little bit of an incident. Had some contact here, and we bent a tie rod. So sucks to make contact in the test day, but you know, hopefully you can learn from that. We'll move forward. Let's get this car ready. Tomorrow is the race. All right, so now we are getting the car ready for the race. So we have these nice checklists. We actually got these laminated. So we have a night before race prep. So we're gonna go through, we're gonna change engine oil. In this case, we're actually going to skip transmission fluid because that was cleaned before the test day. Same with the diff. We're going to bleed the brakes, check the clutch, check the brake pads, and measure the brake pads for wear. We're going to tighten the lower rear control arm bolt. I'm actually just going to look at that and make sure that the paint's in place. We're going to visually check all the paint on everything critical. Visual check of the welds on the subframe. That's really key here because it's easy to get a crack and you don't know it until your race is over. Tires, we're gonna go through the tires, make sure all those are good. We already checked the hubs. Looks like we're going through some of this other driver bands. We're making sure everybody has their driver bands. Radio checking all helmets, we did that today. See here, we gotta clean. We gotta clean the car, shake down. So once all this is done, we're actually gonna drive this through the paddock, make sure everything's good to go, make sure it's full of fuel, get everything charging for the next morning. So let's get to it. So it's almost 9 o'clock. I think the test day could be going a little bit better right now. So we had a broken flex pipe. We're getting that welded up right now. So hopefully we'll have the exhaust. Hopefully we can get some sleep here and make the race tomorrow. All right, so end of the test day. Wow, lots of little issues. Getting everything wrapped up here. It's probably around 10 o'clock, maybe a little after 10 o'clock. The exhaust is on the car. Most of the checklist, almost everything on the checklist is completed. So we'll go through, we'll do our morning checklist. We got some new vents in the hood here. Hopefully we can keep the temps down. We got that exhaust fixed. We got the alignment done. So fingers crossed, hopefully all of our gremlins are behind us. All right, it is race day. The car is almost ready. We've added a second set of vents to the hood. Hopefully that's going to provide some additional cooling, and it's going to keep our fuel rail cold. We have a new return style fuel system. Got a nice bracket set up for a new fuel pressure regulator. We're also running more fuel pressure, so the car is going to run a little bit richer than it was running before. That is all by design. So hopefully we can run a little bit more conservatively, and hopefully we didn't damage the engine with the fuel issues we had before. So that's a question mark right now. Other things, we had a flex pipe break. We got that changed. It was about 10 p.m. last night when we finally finished that. We actually replaced that with a straight, just a straight rigid piece of pipe. So hopefully we don't have an issue there. This morning we caught that one of the rear bearings. We had a really little amount of play. We tightened that down. There's not enough time to swap that out in the spindle, so hopefully that stays together as well. So we got a lot of question marks on this car. I think we have to be realistic about our expectations today, and I think the goal should be that we get 2 full stints. I don't think a proper goal is even to finish this race, but if we get 2 full stints, I'll call that a win overall. So let's see how we do. So morning of the race, let's talk about our morning of the race checklist. So we're going through here. We have a 1 hour to grid, 30 minutes to grid, 15 minutes to grid. Go to next page. We have everything we need in grid, 3 minutes. So the idea here is we get everything installed, everything checked off like we need. Obviously the most important thing, your transponder. Then we have cameras, we have our Wi-Fi hotspot, checking and setting the clock in the dash, just making sure we're good to go with tires, everything's fueled up the way we need, the cool shirt is filled. Then 30 minutes of grid, making sure the driver has everything, including suit, socks, shoes. Socks are one that sometimes gets forgotten. You know, preparing everything as far as your cool shirt, things like that. Starting the car, getting the car up to temp, and then doing the final top off. So we do this just to stay on schedule, and then we use a dry erase. So everything from last night has been dry erased, and then we have morning of the race here. Let's go. All right, so a little time to breathe. check the results. We did really well. We have top time overall right now. I pitted in 3rd place. Nick got in the top car, dropped down to like 10th or so. He is working his way back up. I think he's currently in 4th place now that the pits have cycled through, which is awesome. He's putting in really good laps. That's phenomenal. I'm glad he's really comfortable in the car. Now, we do have an exhaust issue, so the exhaust let go. We don't know what it is or where it is. So we have these water bottles, and we put a hole in the top. So we're gonna use those to squirt the exhaust. We have hardware prepped, so that's gonna cool it down. So our plan is, first thing we're gonna do in the pits is open the hood, get the car in the air, squirt whatever part's hot. Then we're gonna do our driver change, and we're gonna fuel the car as well. And then we're gonna go back and actually fix what's wrong if we can. I really hope it's just a couple bolts that let loose, and we'll see if we can fix that overall. So if we're able to do this, at this point we are in our pit window, so we're just waiting for a purple 35. We'll come in and let's see what we can do. All right, so we are doing really well. We have the fastest time overall. We're in 5th place, and we are about a pit stop ahead. Now, there's some people that could stretch it. If you pit stop under green, it's 3 laps. So we are 3 laps behind 3rd and 4th place, 4 laps behind 2nd, 5 laps behind 5th. I think we might be able to make it up if we hit good strategy. We also lap faster than everybody else out there. So I'm going to try to double stint in the afternoon. We have 3 hours and 45 minutes. So I'll be first in the car, Nick will jump in, and then I will get in the car next. So we do have a broken exhaust, but everything seems to be really fine. Seems to be where it broke and how it's pointed. It's not heating anything up. Everything seems to be safe and running fine. And the exhaust has enough hangers. It seems to be staying up there. So hopefully, you know, we can keep our performance up, and then we'll hopefully we end up in impound, right? Hopefully we can get on the podium. That'd be great. All right, we have about 45 minutes to go. Nick's been out there and lapping for a while now. We've been waiting for a purple 35 to pit. We're currently in 4th place. We're probably going to end up somewhere around 5th. I think it's going to be a battle between 6th place to see whether or not we can get it. The exhaust is still off the car. The last time I checked the brake pads, they are really worn down. We put brand new Willwood EP40 pads that were like this thick, and they're already almost gone. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see if they make it. So, post-mortem. Initially, very disappointed because we had a shot at 5th and we missed it by 0.132 seconds. We almost had it neck and neck right at the finish line, and that would have landed us an impound. But I have to say, overall, we finished. We had mechanical issues that we were able to solve in the pits. Our longest pits were maybe a minute, 2 minutes over. So not too bad overall. We have a lot to work on. So the splitter, my nice new leading edges, for the most part, are gone. This splitter is probably toast. We're gonna fix it for tomorrow, but it is crinkled underneath. I actually have a jack holding it up. So we have a nice crinkle under there. We got a crinkle under the front as well. So I must have caught this lip going off-road. We'll probably cut to that right now. So that's a problem. We have a bad front hub. Nick's replacing that. These brake pads are, let's see the brake pad here, Nick. So pretty much nothing left. So that was a brand new set of Willwood PP40 racing brake pads that started out, I think they were over 1/2 inch thick each. And they are gone in a 2,300 pound Miata, including driver and fuel. So not a great compound. We're probably gonna have to put in the Hawk DTC 50s next. We were running the DTC 30s. I didn't like the life on that, but the life on those was substantially better than these Willwood pads. Nonetheless, so we got to work on that. We also have a broken exhaust, and let me show you that. Out of the car here, and here's our broken exhaust. So we drove like that for probably about 5 hours. So that broke about 2 hours in, and for some reason the transmission didn't get hot, the differential didn't get hot, the axles didn't get hot. Knock on wood, we were able to finish the race with this exhaust just basically pouring right next to the transmission. I cannot believe it did not roast the transmission tunnel. So we're gonna do diff fluid, transmission fluid. We have to build a shield for the motor mount because the motor mount is melting, but the studs held up here. The header nuts are good to go. Our fuel system seemed to work just fine. We didn't have any cooling issues. So all in all, I'm exhausted, but holy crap, we finished, took 6 overall, and we had the top time of the day by a long shot. This car was fast. If you added up all the individual times, I think this car probably has 5 or 10 of the fastest times at this track today. So that is saying something about this platform. We really got bit by these little mechanical issues and then fuel strategy. A lot of these other teams, they can go a lot longer on fuel. They took substantially fewer stops, and we just got burned on strategy. Now, we were running the Nankang tire, and all of our Nankang tires are pretty much done. Not a whole lot of life. These are probably the best tires that we have left. So we're gonna be running RS4s tomorrow. Those are gonna be substantially slower. So we'll see. Let's keep wrenching. Let's get this car ready for tomorrow's race. All right, it is Sunday. It's early in the morning. We did not finish the car last night, so we have to, we replaced the tie rod end, we replaced a ball joint. We're gonna get a toe on the front of the car. Our exhaust fix is not really a fix. So it was cracked. We ran the whole race that way. Actually disconnected, and it was fine. So we added, this is an old end plate, so a 9 Lives Racing end plate. We added that as a heat shield. So hopefully that's just gonna even further improve the performance where it wasn't heating the transmission. I want to keep it that way, and we're just going to add a chain to the exhaust to make sure the exhaust doesn't come undone. So they were giving us a little bit of trouble yesterday, but they let us keep running. Hopefully we can keep running today, because if we weld it, it's just going to break right away again anyway. So hopefully we can get away with that and run today. Yeah, we're also adding a heat shield to the motor mount. So we have these baking tins that Steve was getting those ready. So the motor mount down there was getting melty. So hopefully those tins, we're gonna add 2 of them. Hopefully we can add like an insulating layer above the mount and then between the tins, and then that'll reflect heat away. So we'll see if we can make it on the track. All right, same schedule as yesterday. Car is to grid. Grid's filling out here. We got about half an hour. Field's about 40 cars, a little under 40 cars. So a little bit bigger than Gingerman, way less than Watkins Glen. Unfortunately, today we're gonna be running these old RS4s. And at least from the test day, these things are quite a bit off the pace. So we'll see. We actually have a mismatch set. And then this one we had to put on backwards because we're out of tires. I was gonna buy tires, but to be frank, I didn't think we'd make it this many laps, both on the test day and the first race. So I guess this is all just bonus time. We'll see how we do today. We are almost at the break. Really good first stint. First place, had about a minute on the field. Now the cool suit wasn't working, or it actually worked a couple times, but just really intermittently, probably something with the wiring. So we actually wired that up to the battery, but that took another 50 seconds or so, about a minute in the pits. Then that cost us. So ended up dropping down, and then slowly Nick's just getting used to the car. He had a spin right away in his first lap or so, and then he's been pretty timid ever since. Just finally started picking up the pace. He's about an hour 20, hour 30 into his stint. The car is hard to drive. I'll definitely give him that. It's not easy to drive, but you know, that's something you gotta learn. Gotta learn how to keep the pace up and drive around with what you got. So nonetheless, the car's still running. Really happy about that. We'll see. I think we're about 10th place. We end up losing a couple laps to the now leaders. Yeah, so we're 4 laps down now from the leader. But yeah, 9th place. So we'll see what we can do. We got a pit stop here once we finish the break. Hopefully we can do that under purple 35, and we'll see. just came in after a real short stint. Just finishing out what Nick had left to fuel after the break here. And wow, it's slick out there. Definitely not as fast as it was this morning. However, my cool shirt stopped working midway through. At the pit stop, we opened it up. We found out the cool shirt actually, it tipped over, I guess. I don't think we ratcheted it down, or maybe we didn't ratchet it down enough, and then it actually moved around. So hopefully that stays together. We got that fixed. Also adjusted tire pressures. Apparently one of the tires that we put on this morning, we never checked pressures. So we checked that, it was all the way up to 50 PSI with a target of 26. The other tires too were in the 30s or around 30, bringing those down to trying to 26. So at least we got the driver's side of the car. We'll try to get the passenger side of the car next stop. Fingers crossed that we don't have any more issues we got to deal with. But this time I think we were actually able to send them on time. So the goal is to try to keep cool. At this point my arms really don't work too well. So we have this cool shirt in the pits, and you might be able to see that we're actually getting condensation on the cool shirt. We also have this nice misting fan. Take a turn on the mist here. It's hot. It is really, really hot. Yeah, even, geez, I was out there maybe 15 minutes and it was just roasting without that cool shirt. So it's definitely warmed up. You can see it's really sunny. Yesterday we had cloud cover, so we got lucky, but man, it's a hot one today. All right, and that's a wrap. Sunday 7-hour race is done. We finished not exactly where we wanted, but we finished the whole race without any significant issues. 8th overall. I'm really happy about the team, how they performed, how the car performed. Now it wasn't as fast on these tires, but we still had a pretty good showing overall. So we're almost done packing up here. Let's head home. All right, we are back. Now, before I dive into a recap, let me first say, if you're watching right now and you actually like this content, please click the subscribe button. Give me a little bit of encouragement so I know that people actually want me to keep making these videos or not. I would appreciate that. Now, let's talk about the weekend overall. First off, it was hot. We had a huge amount of issues and we were short-staffed. We only had one additional crew member all weekend, and then Nick and I as drivers pulling double duty as far as doing pit stops and bottles and things like that. And overall, despite all of these issues, this car not only finished 2 7-hour races back-to-back, but we got a 5th overall and an 8th overall with a rookie driver. Wow. Top it all off, fastest time of the weekend in this car, which is amazing. We still have a lot to go. We still have a rear bumper. These doors, we probably got 20 pounds out of each door we can take out of this thing. We have a lot of development to go on the car yet, but this thing is fast. So that's really encouraging. It's really encouraging that we're able to finish these races and get it done. Now, we got a lot more content to come. My next race that I'm gonna be doing is something new. It should be a lot of fun. It's actually running with Grid Life. So I have to get this car ready for Grid Life. Now, I'm still gonna be racing with ChampCar, and we're gonna have a bunch of other events, but I wanna try out Grid Life as well. Check it out. It's a much different style. There's 15-minute races, and it seems like a big culture type show. There's drifting, there's time attack, and there's musical acts as well. So we'll see how those go, but I'm excited for that. For more content, I'm also going to do a post-mortem. We learned a lot. I explained what went wrong with the car at the track, but I'll do a deep dive into that, explain some of the other things that I didn't necessarily talk about in this video as well, so stick around for that video. Thanks for watching, and remember to please like and subscribe below.